I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Paying rent can feel like throwing money away. And when you're spending so much, it can be hard to see yourself buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is helping you put your monthly rent towards home ownership with Rent Rewards. For the first time, save up to $5,000 off the cost of your first home just by paying rent. Only at Rocket Mortgage. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Hi, my name's Jason Thompson. I'm an attorney and have been representing people injured in auto and commercial truck collisions right here in San Antonio, my hometown, since 1994. Getting into a collision can be a life-altering event. Your health and recovery is the only thing that really matters, and anyone that's ever been injured in a traffic collision will tell you that. How do you get the insurance company to pay? Simple. Call me. As your attorney, my job is to get you through this. The decisions you make immediately after a collision are the most important decisions you can make. If you call me as soon as you can after a collision, I will help you make the right decisions for you and your family. Remember, I do not charge for a consultation. Growing up on the southwest side of San Antonio, when Loop 410 was the edge of town, I know how overwhelming it could be to face a giant insurance company all on your own. Just keep it simple. Call me. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 900-0400. Or go to my website at lawyerforus.com.
San Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Spurs season's over. They got a win over the Raptor to close the season, 125-118, finishing with a record of 34-48 on the season. It's now play-in time for the rest of the NBA, which gets underway tomorrow. Atlanta will take on Orlando, and Memphis will face Golden State. While in the NFL, Micah Parsons did show up at the start of Cowboys' voluntary workout.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pleasure wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now!
Oh, welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thank you for joining me, however you may be joining, whether that is on your radio at 94.1 FM. If you happen to be listening online live via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, appreciate that as well. Or if you're watching the show live on YouTube, of course, all of our shows stream live via the YouTube app. So go there, SA Sports Star on YouTube. Like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show. Like Gilbert P says, semi-NBA playoff mode. Yeah, we're not quite there, but we're almost there. The field's almost set. We're finalizing plans. Oh, man. But as you heard, Micah Parsons back at the Star, shows up for voluntary workouts amid this contract discussion that has been surrounding him this offseason. And there was a lot of question. Will he? Won't he? This is the leverage that players have to use when it comes to contract negotiations. But there's also been talk about him being more of a leader, et cetera, et cetera. And it is a great thing for Micah Parsons to be able to be there, to take on that leadership role, to do the things in the offseason and put in the work, especially with a new defensive coordinator, with a new head coach, with everything that is going to be a lot different this upcoming season for the Dallas Cowboys. A little bit of stability with your best player showing up, putting in the work could go a long way towards solidifying this group as they continue on. And the other way they're going to solidify it is in the draft. And what are they going to do in the draft? Well, that remains to be seen. But earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, Rob and AJ were talking about draft plans and how outside of quarterback, nothing's really off the table when you think about the Cowboys draft this year.
There's now a list of all the teams and who they've talked to, like who they've brought in for their visits. You know, you're allowed to bring up to 30 players in for visits, and you get to kind of get to know the guy. Like especially if you're at like the top of a draft, you want to make sure that you get to know the guys and see how you feel about them, and maybe a decision to be made. Now, if you're picking where the Cowboys pick, doesn't make a lot of sense to bring in Cam Ward. Or because you're not going to get Cam Ward.
But you never know. You never know if sometime down the road they become a free agent. And you bring 30 dudes in, you're only going to draft 4, 5. So there's some strategery to it. You can throw other teams off the scent by the guys you bring in. I do know this. The Cowboys just about always will only draft people they've interviewed. They very rarely will not draft somebody that they didn't bring in. So if you're one of the 30, that's normally one of the dudes that will get drafted.
Well, I'll tell you what, based on the list of players that the Cowboys have talked to, running back and wide receiver both seem to be priorities in this draft. Remember, you can bring in 30 guys. How many running backs out of those 30 do you think they
Gosh,
use?
I didn't think there'd be enough to even bring in. 4?
7.
7? Okay.
They have talked to Ashton Genty, Ollie Gordon, Damian Martinez from Miami.
Okay.
Basul Tootin from Virginia Tech, who's a made-up person, but they still talk to him. Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, and both Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson from Ohio State.
Well, you know, that's Zeke land. They're comfortable with Ohio State running backs, so I'm not surprised there.
Wide receivers, Savion Williams from TCU, Matthew Golden from Texas, Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State, Teteroa McMillan from Arizona, and Luther Burden III from Missouri.
They're bringing in the good ones.
So that is five receivers and 7 running backs.
Well, they brought in all the top receivers. That tells me one thing, that they are genuinely looking at the best wide receiver in the crowd, because those are the ones.
So on top of those 12, also 5 offensive linemen and 1 quarterback they've brought in.
And who was that?
Quinn Ewers, University of Texas.
Wouldn't be a surprise at all.
Well, it's a guy you don't have to draft in round 1, certainly.
I think they'd be very happy to see him sitting around there in the 4th round.
Some of the other names that they've brought in: Alfred Collins, also from Texas; Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas, so a couple Texas guys; Walter Nolan from Ole Miss; Shamar Turner from A&M; James Pierce, the defensive end from Tennessee, who's a damn good player; Michael Williams from Georgia. Mm-hmm. So it does look like D-line and skill position offense are the ways that they're looking in this draft.
My gut says wide receiver.
I mean, wide receiver and offensive line are the 2 positions. I guess defensive line as well, or if you like edge rush, D-line, whatever you think. If they stay at 12, that are most likely. If the Cowboys take a running back at 12, I think they've overdrafted. I don't care that Ashton Genty's being talked about as a top 5 pick now.
I'll tell you this, if he's at 12, they'll draft him.
I know they will.
They will draft him at 12.
I always think drafting a running back in the 1st round is a bad idea unless they're like a generational superstar type.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Ashton Genty is that.
He's not, but there's some teams that need a running back, and I think the Cowboys do. Just to feel like you're the Cowboys, you got to have a back that you trust and feel like could go win a game for you on your own. And you're right, the league is not set that way unless you have a Saquon, but there's only one of those.
And when you play behind the offensive line the Cowboys have right now,
I agree.
How's it going to help you?
I just feel like if there's a back, if Genty's there at 12, they're going to take him. But my gut just feels like they've got to help their high-paid quarterback. They got to do everything they can to justify the dollars. And if they can get him in the MVP conversation like he was a couple of years ago, whether they're winning or not, I mean, whether they're playoff bound or not, that's another question. But if they can get Dak throwing for 4,000 and 30 touchdowns, if they're not winning, at least Jerry can justify the money, and he's got a couple of wide receivers that he can talk about. And I think at the end of the day, offense moves the needle more than defense. So that's the only reason I would go there. If I was the GM, I would draft nothing but defensive dudes. First 3 picks would be defense. Because I know those guys will. I can draft somebody, a team that'll come to play every Sunday.
I think I would draft defense or offensive line. That's what I would do.
Contact positions, I should say.
I
would draft nothing but contact.
What I call them is fat people.
Yeah.
if you ain't weighing 280 or more, I don't want you.
Somebody that's going to hit somebody on every play, that's the way I'd go. But that just doesn't move the needle, certainly not in Dallas and certainly not for Jerry.
It's not sexy. It's not. It's not fun to say, oh, look what we got. Look at what's this guy's 40 time, whatever, like that. That's not fun, but that's how you build winning football teams.
And honestly, if I was a general manager and I had an owner that was amenable, I would move up to 1 and get Carter. I know what Micah Parsons did for the Cowboys for 2 years. I know the effect that a guy like that can have. It doesn't translate to wins every game, but it translates into highlights. It translates into jersey sales. Wow. It translates into so many things about the mentality of my team. I would move up, forget the quarterbacks. I'd go get Carter.
What I say all the time about elite pass rushers, and there might be 7 or 8 of these guys in the NFL, they make a good defense look great, and they make a bad defense look serviceable.
Just acceptable. And that's enough sometimes. It really is.
It covers up everything. It covers up having a bad secondary. It covers up a bad running game. It covers up a lot of stuff to have a guy who can get you a sack every game.
And if you tell me that they're going to move up and go get Jalen from Georgia, I'm down. I'm with you. That's the way, if I was running this team, I would go. And sorry, Dak, I'm spending all this money, but no help's coming. You're going to have to earn it, and once you're done, you're done. But I got to be able to stop the ball. I got to stop Jaden for the next 8 years. I got to be able to do some things long after you're gone.
I was shocked when I looked at the Texans visits list, because in my mind, the Texans had to be prioritizing offensive line. They are so bad protecting C.J. Stroud right now. And he's your future. He's your franchise.
Think of all the teams out there that know what you can do to your quarterback when he's laying on his back for the first 3 years of his career. I mean, of all the teams that should know better, they should.
Well, I was shocked. They have only interviewed 4 offensive linemen, and only one of them that's projected in the first round, which tells me one of 2 things. Either they don't see it as much of a priority as I think they should, or the one guy, Josh Connerly from Oregon, that they've interviewed, they've decided he's the one, and if he's not there, they're going to be in a world of surprise. And Josh Connerly is not a guy I've heard being like, a top 10 pick, but he's a guy that would make sense where the Texans are. I don't think it'd be a terrible reach to take him there, but if he's gone and all you've interviewed is like, these guys like Charles Grant from William and Mary. Now all of a sudden it's like that guy. You're going to draft him to play left tackle?
Yeah, especially if those that you haven't interviewed, where they're drafted, you have no idea how things are going to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised they haven't talked to 3 or 4 dudes that are in that range.
So makes me think they either are relying on scouting reports from others and playing possum, or they have another plan, man.
Yeah,
because I can't imagine not coming in with at least 2 new offensive linemen on that starting. I mean, I don't know where you're going to get them, whether you draft them or bring them in after the draft, but you can't start the season with this line.
I think the line's okay in terms of the Houston Texans. You've got some guys in the league that have played tackle. Titus Howard, Cam Robinson, and Trent Brown. So you've kind of revamped that, and you've blown up the guards and brought in a Lincoln Tomlinson and Ed Ingram this offseason. And to be fair, I truly believe that if Kelvin Banks is there, they're taking him. They start him at guard and kick him out to tackle probably after this year. Or Tyler Booker. I mean, he screams Texan in my mind. When it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, I think their line played well towards the end of last year. And I think full off season, some more continuity together. You have Brock Hoffman into that starting component. I think that line's going to be pretty good. A lot of it's going to deal with the health of Dak's return from the hamstring injury and where he's at? Well, he spoke over the weekend, and the Blitz with Jason and Joe were talking about it a little bit earlier today. We'll get into that coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
When it comes to vaccines, it's important to get the facts. The City of San Antonio Metropolitan Health District understands that keeping your child safe is your top priority. Vaccines are safe and can help your child's immune system fight harmful germs. They protect against serious diseases and can even save lives. Because when it comes to your child's health, it's time to get real about vaccines and get the facts. Learn more at sa.gov/health. sa.gov/health.
George gets justice. If you've been injured, get George, because George gets justice. With over 100 years of combined experience and a relentless dedication to your case, the attorneys at George Salinas Injury Lawyers will fight for what's right. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, get George and get the compensation you deserve. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com. George gets justice. Getgeorge.com.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635. And you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Every day when we're on the road, people around us endanger themselves and others by looking at their phones while driving. There's the sneaker peeker who darts their eyes between the road and their texts, or the nightlighter who illuminates their car after dark. If that's you, Reconsider before you find yourself becoming the fender bender-er, the got a ticket-er, or worst of all, the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
What's up, baseball fans? Go yard with BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Enjoy top odds on your favorite home run bets, fast and convenient ways to play same-game parlays, special boosts and tokens, and so much more. From the first pitch to the game-winning fireworks, there are more ways than ever to supercharge your excitement. Download the BetMGM app and get your piece of MLB action. BetMGM is an official partner of Major League Baseball. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. First bet offers for new customers only. All other promotions for existing customers. Subject to eligibility requirements. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Major League Baseball trademarks. Used with permission.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Now, we may be a little bit more than a week away from the draft, which is next Thursday, starting with the first round. But voluntary workouts began today. While Micah Parsons was there, Dak Prescott also there. He was also speaking over the weekend at a charitable gala and updated his process on where he is, how his recovery has been going. And Jason and Joe were talking about Dak and the future of the Cowboys and how he looks and where his body's currently at.
As for number 4, speaking at a charity event over the weekend, he says he's good to go. He said he could actually play a game today if they had to.
It's about following the team, following my PT, Luke Miller, and the plan that we put together and the doctor and Dr. Brahm, and I'm excited about where I am. If I had to play a game today, I definitely could do that. So it's about moving forward healthy to make sure I can play 17 when the time's 20 and whatever
there you go.
when the time's right.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he could play a game, but he couldn't play 17. I still think he's got a ways to go.
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly. I don't think there's no way he could play a game right now.
Well, I mean,
and not be a fully functional quarterback.
But he's far enough along where if he was forced to play, if they had to, he could. The fact is, it's April 14th. He doesn't have to play for a while, but that should put a lot of people at ease about his status. I mean, when you're hearing stories, and we'll get into it later, about Derek Carr could miss the entire season because of a shoulder, there was times where we didn't know, like Overshown. When's he going to be ready? October, November. Dak is going to be ready to go at the start of the regular season, probably go through all of a training camp. Now, he did say, despite all the stories that he has dropped 30 pounds, he says he really hasn't lost any weight.
Slimothy, Slim Reaper, whatever you want to call me. But, real slim. No, I'm just kidding. No, I actually haven't really lost any weight. I'm about the same. Weights just moved, building my legs back up, obviously, from the hamstring. Might be leaner up top, but weight's the same. So appreciate the interest.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all over social media. We're seeing you throwing, and your body looks good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the work that I put into it. Unfortunately, I've been through this process of recovering from injuries before that. I embrace it. And I know that a better version of me is on the other side. And so that's just the way that I've approached this whole offseason, this whole rehab process. And in the sense of that, as I said, I've moved weight around more than I've lost weight. But I feel great, getting very, very close to where I want to be.
Close to where he wants to be. Okay. Well, that's good news. I mean, it really is. I'm not wishing anything bad on the guy. I just know that was a horrible injury. And it's going to be interesting to see how it affects him. It really does. It really will be.
Well, and you say how it affects him, you're talking about his mobility.
Sure.
Can he be more than just a statue in the pocket? He says yes, he is better when he's mobile.
Me playing my best, I'm mobile, whether it's actually running past the line of scrimmage or it's just scrambling, making plays happen with my arm. So that's vital for me. That's a big part of this. And, yeah, I've been running more. Obviously, you've got to when you're rehabbing a hamstring. So it's about just staying on that trend of just getting better, staying mobile, but doing it while feeling healthy.
I think any quarterback is a little bit better when you can move around in the pocket and escape some of these guys that are chasing you, buy some more time for your wide receiver to get open. And every quarterback can say that. It's going to be interesting to see because Dak could still move around in the pocket. It's just when I don't know if he can't or won't or didn't run with the football as much as he did earlier in his career last year before he got hurt. So I don't know if this adds to that or and I'm not saying he's scared, but that mental thing in there to take off running when you've had two pretty serious leg injuries, it's got to be there.
Well, but I go back to all the conversations with Mike McCarthy, whether he was on the podium or on the morning huddle. He would rather Dak dirt the ball than risk an injury. And while he can run, is it the risk-reward factor? Now, the first year after the ankle, yeah, he wasn't going to run at all. I think he could now. And then, of course, when he finally does, he got hurt. So I don't know. I mean, it is one of those things where you look at it and you say, can he still be mobile? He's going to have to be at times. And maybe with Brian Schottenheimer now as the head coach and the play caller, they'll put some of that back into the offense. And Dak did say he was excited to have Schotty as the new play caller and head coach.
I mean, just excitement. Yeah, just excitement. As you said, I mean, I've known Schotty. He's been there. He's been the last couple of years and really 3 years, right? The first year being a consultant that it's not any monumental conversations that are needed to happen, but definitely his direction and the way that he sees this offense going, the way that he sees this team going. And I think it's clear throughout the team with the guys and the men that he's hired as the coaches and the way that he's got the whole building on the same page. So just excited for this chapter under him and the way that he's going to lead this team and this unit.
And look, to have your quarterback on board and talking like that only helps Brian Schottenheimer. I mean, it does. That is exactly what he needs to have everybody. If you're not sure about him as a Cowboy player, you hear your quarterback talking about him like that, that only helps him. Yep. So good for Dak Prescott. And I would say he feels that way or he wouldn't have said it. So for him to feel that way about this guy, I think is good news for everybody. And to have him come out and say that is really good. And
good news for everybody, too. Micah Parsons, according to reports, did show up today for the voluntary offseason team activities that got underway today. Contract issues, we know the negotiations are ongoing. How far along they are, how substantial the talks have been, anybody's guess, depending on what reporter you like. But we do know a contract isn't done yet. The fact that Micah showed up today, I think, is a big sign for Micah and his messaging to Jerry that, yes, I can be that leader that you want me to be. And so the fact that he's there, I think that's a good sign. Dak was asked about players who could step up and be leaders, knowing that there were so many retirements and guys that moved on this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. I could call out some guys that are here, Jalen Tolbert, some guys that have been around that understand
Jalen Tolbert,
what the way in the direction that we need to go. And so it's a great opportunity for guys. I almost don't want to say one because I want to challenge them. I mean, there's a lot of slates and a lot of positions. Obviously, Michael Parsons, you know what I mean? You got CeeDee Lamb. You've got guys that you can name, but there's a lot of the guys that have an opportunity to step up. But super, super excited about what we have, the veterans that we have. I mean, honestly, the one that jumped off when you ask it is Osa, right? Like, guys follow him. He does things the right way, but it's about creating more that you just can't deny their leadership and you can't deny their will to win.
He's right? There's a lot of leaders there or so-called could-be leaders on that team. And look, they're going to need them all. I mean, this Dallas team right now, no matter what you think about them and what they've done in the offseason, most people think they're the third best team in the East. I mean, they do. So they're going to have to play. I don't want to say play better, but they're going to have to show people that we do have the leaders and we are capable of making a playoff and a Super Bowl run.
Well, and a big part of that to me is getting Micah Parsons signed. because he is the defensive leader. He is the quarterback of that defense. Dak even was asked if he had conversation with Mike about dealing with contract negotiations and Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I mean, me and Mike have talked in the locker room. Leave that as locker room talks, but very confident in that guy and what he can do. Who he is and what he wants to do is as important as anything, and that's in being a leader. And the contract, I mean, that's I don't have the full answer for it, or I think all of mine would have been done a lot earlier than they were. So that's for him. Just stay positive, and understand and make sure that his team knows what he wants and what he believes.
Well, no matter what's going to happen, and I think he will get signed, it's just a matter of when. That's the guessing game that Jerry likes to play. But the fact that he showed up today, I think it does send a clear message that, look, I can be that guy. I am that guy. I want to be the leader of the defense, and here I am. I don't have to be here. It's voluntary, but I'm here. Let's go, and let's get this thing done.
It's going to be very interesting to see what shape Dak's in when we finally get out to Oxnard and get to see things, how far along he is. He looks great in his training videos. He does look slimmer. What does that physically do for his body and his ability to stay healthy? Because he has had some injury issues over the past 5 seasons. So it's going to be very intriguing to see kind of where they're at with Dak Prescott. But remember, they've got Joe Milton in the wings and somebody that they feel that they may be able to develop behind Dak. And hopefully you don't have to use him this year at all, and Dak can stay healthy for the full season. And just being healthy in training camp throughout the season can give the Cowboys back to where they can compete. Because if you have Dak playing at a high level, obviously that the best version of Dak is nearly an MVP, as we saw a couple of years ago. So if he's playing at his highest level with Brian Schottenheimer, with this new offensive scheme that maybe harkens back to his rookie year and the first few years in the league when the Cowboys were more run dependent. And we've heard them talk about wanting to use play action, wanting to lean on the run. You know, Mike McCarthy always talked about wanting to do that, but you never saw the fruits of the labor when it came down to it. It was more of the 30 to 50 pass attempts per game, and getting that back down into the 30 range probably going to benefit all parties involved, defense, everybody involved, that you can control the time of possession and also keep the defense off balance. So something to watch for with new head coach Brian Schottenheimer and how this offense will go. As far as the NBA, well, we know the playoffs are about to start. And the Spurs, well, they won't be a part of it. But with the NBA season ending, where are we as we head into the postseason? We'll talk about it coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
Your marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at TSAOG.com.
Listen up, San Antonio. At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can get college credit for the stripes you've earned. Turn your military rank into college credit to save time and money on an online degree. Eligible enlisted service members and previously enlisted veterans may receive up to 12 credits for select undergraduate courses based on their rank, and up to 90 credits in total for prior learning, military experience, and training. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu/SATX.
It's time for the herd you love. It's time for professional spring football. The San Antonio Brahmas are back, bringing you more of the action, the celebration, and the unforgettable moments you love. Join us for our home opener Sunday, April 27th at 2 when the Brahmas bring the Fiesta to the gridiron with our Viva Fiesta, Viva Brahmas themed game. Bring the energy to the Alamo Dome as your San Antonio Brahmas take on the Houston Roughnecks. Tickets on sale now at UFLBrahmas.com. That's UFLBrahmas.com. Our town, our team, our herd.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's playoff time in basketball, and to make games more exciting, make sure you download the Underdog app, one of the leading sports apps out there. And Underdog just became one of the best places to make picks during the playoffs with their extender promo. With the extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one, whether your entry wins or loses. The longer the series, the bigger the boost. So download the Underdog app, sign up with promo code STAR to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Again, promo code STAR at Underdog. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. Present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code GROW. swishradio.com, code GROW.
Come on in to Total Wine & More. Prices much lower than a grocery store. Wine, beer for a whole lot less. Walking down the aisles makes you stop and say, yes! From mixing cocktails to a friendly get-together, Total Wine has everything you need and more. With the lowest prices and best selection for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21. The Aggies play here. This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Lots to get into still, including the NBA season drawing to a close. And while the Spurs won't be a part of it, it's going to make for some intriguing playoff matchups. The Morning Huddle was talking about the end of the NBA season a little bit earlier this morning with Rob and AJ.
The NBA playoffs, Rob, we are set, friend. We've got, well, at least we've got the play-in set. I guess we can't be all the way set until
Friday.
The play-in games happen, but we've got Orlando against Miami, Atlanta against Chicago. Golden State ends up in the play-in. They'll take on the Mavericks. Memphis against the Kings.
Why don't we just call this the playoff?
I mean, it kind of
you know why we don't call it a playoff? Because they don't get playoff shares.
Oh, you don't get anything?
I think you get a game check.
Okay.
You get an 83rd game check.
Okay. And maybe an 84th if you're you're lucky. But yeah, you don't get a cut of the.
I don't think there's playoffs. That's why they're very cautious and careful to say play in, not playoff.
No, that makes sense.
And it's a playoff.
I get the, having more teams in the mix at the end is a good thing for the NBA.
Yeah. I love this. I appreciate the fact. Well, I both appreciate and find it silly that teams like the Chicago Bulls and the Orlando Magic are playing the next couple of days.
Right.
But, I mean, other than that, at least they got a reason. And as a team that went and watched their 82nd and final game yesterday in front of a mixed audience and a team that didn't care, I wish there was a reason to care about a game, even with a losing record like the Bulls. I mean, at least they're still playing.
I also noticed, is this the first time they've done it, or they always do this? I don't think they always do this. Every team played yesterday. Like nobody played on Saturday, and they wanted to balance it out where nobody had like a competitive edge going into the thing. And it's never been that way before, right?
Not to my knowledge. Although it wouldn't surprise me that they had official closing day, but every day, you hope for the best, and you got a bunch of playoff things in play. But there's only like 2 games that mattered.
Yeah, but when I saw on Saturday, I'm like, oh, what's going on in the association today? Nothing.
And I noticed some of the nationally televised games were not the good games. It wasn't like they were going to flex into the good ones. They didn't flex. They broadcast some bad ones.
Well, there are plenty of bad ones to go around.
Yeah,
plenty of bad ones to go around. But yeah, that the game that really ended up mattering yesterday was that Clippers Golden State game, and much like the Masters playoff, went to overtime, and the Clippers get it done.
Hottest. What did you just call it? Fish grease? They are hot. Man.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't want to play Clippers.
The Clippers get to go home and chill, and the Warriors have to play in the play-in now. So that was a huge win for the Clippers. Of the games that we do know who's playing, we know the Knicks and the Pistons are going to be a playoff matchup. We know that the Pacers and the Bucks will be a playoff matchup, and the Bucks having to go on the road for that one. By the way, they will be the
that series. The Pacers can, if they win this series, all thing will be right with the Pacers. If they can beat Milwaukee in round 1, Carlisle, the Pacers are all going to be very happy.
Do you trust Milwaukee in the playoffs? It doesn't seem like lately you can.
No, I still think Milwaukee going to beat them, but this is one.
I don't think Milwaukee's won a playoff series since they won their title.
Probably not. I think that the Pacers were so bad this year that I think they can rectify and look forward if they get it done, which will give them enough, I think, for at least a game or 2. But they should beat Milwaukee.
And I think we got some really interesting playoff matchups in the West. We've got Minnesota, who was the team on fire at the end of last year. They go to the Lakers. The young Bucks against the old dogs.
And remember what Luka did to the Timberwolves last year. I mean, he destroyed them single-handedly. So that's crazy how he landed with the Lakers and he gets them again.
And then we've got the Nuggets and the Clippers. I mean, that is going to be fascinating. Those 2 teams finish with the exact same record, but they do it in different ways. The Clippers kind of soaring to the finish line. The Nuggets
feel like they have an excuse to lose,
limping a little bit.
Feel like they have an excuse.
And we're set up where the Rockets could end up playing the Warriors. Depending. The OKC could end up. I don't know. I mean, I guess OKC couldn't play the Warriors. That would be the one exception they couldn't play. But OKC may end up with Memphis or Sacramento. But
they'll get their just desserts. I mean, Sacramento or Memphis. I don't see anything more than 4 games. I think sweeps are imminent.
And then in the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Celtics await their opponents as well. Again, none of those teams that made the play-in the East have a better than a 500 record. It probably lambs to the slaughter going up against those 2 teams. The Celtics especially playing some great ball right now down the stretch. So good to have at least a semblance of the playoff set.
And really not, knock on wood, injuries aren't really an issue right now. Teams aren't those that matter. Have everybody that's pretty fully functioning. We're not nursing anything that could prohibit one of the top 4 or 5 teams to win it because they've got somebody hurt. So
no major ones.
No, I mean everybody dinged up at the end of the year, but nothing that is going to keep guys or keep a team from winning because their best dude just isn't going to be available, at least not yet. So it looks like exactly what we hoped for. I just sitting in the Frost yesterday, harkening back to the AT&T years. It just sucks. I'm so glad yesterday was over. I just yearn for the days when games mattered.
We all are, I think. And it's very, very difficult to watch them continually slow this pace and talk about building and steps and not skipping steps. And you've got a Victor Wembanyama. You need to start winning basketball games sooner rather than later. And a big part of that is going to be, well, not just Wemby, but who's going to be coaching Wemby as the Spurs move forward. Very, very interesting things. Wemby did speak after that final game and kind of the player exit interviews. We'll get into that when we get back right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
When it comes to vaccines, it's important to get the facts. The City of San Antonio Metropolitan Health District understands that keeping your child safe is your top priority. Vaccines are safe and can help your child's immune system fight harmful germs. They protect against serious diseases and can even save lives. Because when it comes to your child's health, it's time to get real about vaccines and get the facts. Learn more at sa.gov/health. sa.gov/health.
Carbach Brewing was not born in San Antonio, Texas, but they have certainly gone out of their way to make San Antonio their second home. We had the head brewer come in, and he said when they first started to reach outside of Houston, San Antonio was the place they wanted to be, and does it show. Carbach beer is all over our great city, from their in-your-face flagship IPA, Hopadillo, to the Ziegenbach, to their best seller, the Love Street, their Kolsch-style blonde. There is something for everyone in Carbach's lineup, and it is all over the place. Of course, you're going to find it at the grocery stores. Of course, you're going to find it at the liquor stores, but it's also at a bunch of bars and restaurants around town. They wanted to make this their second home, and that's what it's become. So when you're out, you're watching the games at your local sports bar, your local restaurant, your local hangout, you're thinking, I want to elevate my beer game a little bit. Well, friend, wherever you're at, they probably have some Carbach either on tap or in cans. So when you're out and about doing your thing, go ahead and make sure to ask your bartender to please make it a Carbach.
Tragically, recent data reveals that 40% of women in Texas will experience intimate partner violence. Christie's Hope is dedicated to breaking the cycle of domestic violence by providing shelter, healing, and counseling, and empowering survivors to take their first steps towards lasting safety and independence. Thomas J. Henry stands with us in our commitment to end domestic violence. Donate today at christieshope.org.
When spring is in the air, so are the savings during the Mow Less, Save More sales event at your local Aaron's dealer. We're celebrating the season with $100 off qualifying Icon zero-turn lawnmowers with special financing offers available. The Icon mows quickly, comfortably, and leaves a perfectly cut lawn every time. This spring, clean up with savings of $100 off on Aaron's Icon Zero Turn during the Mow Less, Save More sales event. Restrictions apply. See your local dealer for details.
I can't sleep.
What is it now?
It's the company. It's chaos.
What's chaos now?
The numbers, the expenses, the books. What if we get audited?
No one's going to audit you at 3 a.m. Go to sleep.
I can't sleep.
You could if you used Ramp.
Who said that?
I don't care because they're right. Go to sleep and sign up for Ramp in the morning, Jerry.
Ramp is the corporate card that handles all your tedious financial operations automatically, integrates directly with your ERP, and gives you complete control over every transaction. Ramp gives you everything you need for bulletproof books and a better night's sleep.
Wow, that is exactly what my company needs.
Yes, and exactly what I also need. Go to sleep, Jerry.
Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
What up, fellow Gen Xers? Elizabeth Banks here. As the original Latchkey kids, we took things into our own hands, like house keys and video game controllers. And now it's time for us to do it again, because the recommended age to get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. We're at over 6 times greater risk compared to adults under 50. So go to vaxassist.com and schedule. Gen X, this is our shot. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia. Puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh. Did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thank you for joining me, however you may be joining me, whether it's on the radio, if you're listening online at sasportstar.com via the AA Best Bail Bonds audio vault, or you happen to be watching on YouTube. Of course, you can like, comment, subscribe, comment along with the show, or just feel free to call into the show, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Look, the NBA playoffs, once again, for the 7th straight year, don't have the Spurs in it. And it's just something that's getting more and more difficult to deal with, knowing how much talent is on this team. When you have a De'Aaron Fox and you have a Victor Wembanyama, and you're going into an offseason with so much question because of health, like Victor Wembanyama's blood clot. You're dealing with Greg Popovich's stroke. Everything that you're doing is dependent on other issues right now, and there are multiple coaches now. Budenholzer's been added to the list of Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone of potential coaches that could take the reins and move the Spurs forward. But it's all going to come down to what the Spurs end up doing and what, of course, Victor Wembanyama, if any, input he has on what the direction of the Spurs will go. Well, he did talk to the media after that final home game in their exit interviews, and the Blitz, well, Jason and Joe, they were there to talk about it.
It looks like everything's going to be okay. And as we sit here right now, come training camp, Victor Wembanyama will be there and ready to roll. So that's good news. The question is, who's going to be coaching him and what other players are going to be around him?
Well, and that's it. And, you know, you think about the core is here with Wemby, Fox, Castle. What about the coach? The uncertainty around Greg Popovich.
I mean, it's, you know, I trust the organization. I trust Pop to make all he can to come back, to get his energy back. And I also trust Mitch to grow into that role. So it's, you know, I think we're in good hands. We're supporting each other all throughout the organization. So I don't know. It's something I'm ready for anything, and I know the organization will do the good decisions.
I think there were a couple of things in that soundbite that speak volumes. First and foremost, Pop's energy. He's got to get his energy back. That could be the problem, and that's what we're looking at. That's number one. The other thing that he said that intrigues me is the fact that I'm confident Mitch can grow into this position. It tells me that Wemby had some doubts, like the rest of us, about how Mitch Johnson coached this basketball team.
You know, it is interesting, although Chris Paul yesterday, after starting all 82 games, they even gave him a ball last night. And 3 Spurs actually played in all 82 games, but 20 years in the league, don't know that I expected that from CP3. But he did talk last night after the game about the job Mitch Johnson did as the interim head coach.
1,000%. This year was a roller coaster, right? We got dealt a few blows as far as obviously the news with Pop earlier in the season, then with Vic. But Mitch did a great job of managing the situation and coaching and teaching. And I can't imagine how tough it's been for him and all of our staff.
It's been a horrible year for the Spurs. And when you look at that and what's happened, and it all started with Greg Popovich. Then you got Wemby's blood clot, Fox with the pinky surgery. But what we failed by the time Pop happened in November till Wemby went out when? In March, February? It's a long time, and they weren't playing well.
No, and look, I can't imagine Mitch Johnson, the pressure that he was under. But there was a reason they chose him to be the interim head coach. And you got to believe, as detailed as the organization is, that was the plan going into the season. If something were to happen to Pop, it would be Mitch. Not that they were thinking this, but, I mean, you're always planning for every scenario.
It gets tossed, right?
And so you look at it and you go, okay, that's it. There is no way, though, after what we saw this year, that if Pop does decide he's going to retire, that Mitch Johnson is going to be the full-time head coach. Not with what we saw this year. Now, you couple that with, and I know I've changed a bit when you looked at Taylor Jenkins getting fired and Mike Malone getting fired. I was thinking, Pop had until mid-May, close to the draft, to make a decision. But I've changed on that. I mean, I almost think the regular season is over. Do we need a decision this week from Greg Popovich? Because Mike Budenholzer got fired today by the Phoenix Suns. He had 1 year with them. And he's a name, because of his history with Pop in the Spurs organization, that gets talked about a lot as a possible next coach if Pop does decide to retire. Well, you look around, who's the number one guy to replace him in Phoenix? It's Mike Malone. Who's number two? It's Taylor Jenkins. And there will be other openings. We know that. So if the Spurs truly do think one of those guys could be the next, Pop has to make a decision sooner rather than later.
Well, there's no question about it. He's got to, right? But go with me on this, Minix. What if that decision's already been made and the new head coach is already picked out?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just, and you know where I'm going there. Steve Kerr.
Uh-huh.
What if that happens? And look, because there's going to be some big changes with the Golden State Warriors. All right, they're in the play-in game. Most likely they're going to beat Memphis, I would assume. So they'll get into the playoffs, but they don't have a long run in the playoffs. So I wonder what that happens. You got some aging guys there. Draymond Green, who blows a layup last night, by the way. That cost him the game. And he lets old number two win.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Jimmy Butler's no spring chicken. Steph Curry's no spring chicken. They got some older, aging out veterans. And you just wonder if Steve Kerr, if he wants to stay in the business, and that's probably the bigger question of any of them, because I think the Spurs would love to have a guy like Steve Kerr coaching this team if Pop can't do it. Does he want to continue doing that? But I'm just saying, if that decision's already been made, I think that is a distinct possibility.
I love the conspiracy theory, and man, it would be incredible to land a coach like Steve Kerr to take over for Greg Popovich and deal with Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and this young group of talented stars. I'd also be a big fan of Michael Malone, who has had some experience dealing with a one-of-one type big man in Nikola Jokic, and that is exactly what Victor Wembanyama is. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star. I appreciate all y'all for rolling through tonight. Great shout out to everybody that was involved with the golf tournament today, whether you were playing, whether you went to the hangar bar afterwards. It was presented by Flight by Yingling, Beer Santa, bringing out beer all day long, and Sierra Motors, PPL Motorhomes, and of course, it benefited the Pan American Golf Association. So cheers to everyone that came out and supported in some way, shape, or form. And if you missed out, well, be ready for when we announce the fall golf tournament, because like we always say, it will sell out. It did sell out. Don't miss your opportunity. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. Check on your loved ones. Make sure that you let them know that you're thinking about them. You never know what it could do for somebody in life. We never know what people are going through. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio's
Mellow
Sports
Mushroom
Star.
has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers.